Hello, this is No BS Nutrition. I'm gonna go into this topic called fad diets. Why do fad diets work? Well, to lose weight, a lot of people goes to fad diets like typically known as keto, paleo, carnivore, etc. They wanna these diets work. I'm just gonna tell you the reason why you lose weight and these diets work because they are low in carbs. Most of these diets, the reason why you lose weight, water weight, because of the amount of carbs, of less carbs you intake and more of whole foods that you intake. Meat do not have carbs that contains water. Meat, no, that sounds wrong. Meat doesn't have carbs. Vegetables and other foods like potatoes or even the processed foods also contains a lot of carbs, which stores a lot of water. Every 1 gram of carb is 3 grams of water. So the reason why these diets work and to make you lose weight overnight, 4 pounds, 6 pounds, is because of the lack of water you storing in your body. I want people to know that losing weight is losing water weight. If you really want to lose weight, you want to lose fat, and losing fat has to be below your maintenance calories, which also means a calorie deficit. You hear many times, but people don't realize that if you want to lose fat, you don't really want to lose weight per se, because losing weight is really nothing. You're just losing water. Unless that's your goal, is to lose water. Okay, eat less carbs, drink more water, and that's it. You lost water. Congratulations. But if you really want to lose fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit. Sorry, it's no choice. That's or work out more, trying to body recomp and just work out longer, and that's how you'll get leaned out and gain more muscle. But you have to be in the calorie deficit to lose fat. Let's say you take someone who eats 3,000 calories a day. Um, that's his maintenance. That's how to maintain his weight. That's how to do everything. You lower his calories for 500. He's going to lose weight because of water, and then slowly over time of a four week period, he will lose fat. He will lose water. He will lose a little bit of fat and a tiny bit of muscle if he does it slow. If you over a surplus, over your maintenance, over 3,000, let's say 3,500, then he will gain weight because he's a surplus. That his activity level is not enough to burn those amount of calories, so he will gain a little bit of water, not all fat, but a little bit of fat and a little bit of muscle, because that's the thing. Even if you're not training, you're still gonna gain a tiny bit of muscle of eating a little bit more. So you lose weight, you gain weight, and these carnivore diets work for some people. It's not because you lose weight or fat, it's because you're in a calorie deficit. And also another reason these diets help people is because it really goes more for the more less processed foods, so the meats, than carbs. That's typically associated with your potato chips, your ice creams, your cakes, and your vegetables. I'm not saying vegetables is a craving, but if some people do have carbs, they will tend to crave more sweets, and that's very common. You still want more carbs from vegetables, so you get your micronutrients and stuff. But if that's a trigger even for vegetables, then you probably switch to a more fattier diet. Keto, for example. That's why ketogenic diet works with many people, and that's why they lose weight. Because A, they're eating less of those processed foods because they have less cravings. They're more full because of the protein amount of in those whole foods and fat ratio that makes them more full. And also the time to actually cook it. You have to think of the time to cook the food. So it'll take longer. The time to actually sit down and eat it is going to take longer. The time to process out your stomach is going to take longer than a processed source of food, like a chip bag or a cupcake. So that's why people tend to go for those diets, which they're not bad, but they're not the holy grail of losing fat. I want people to actually lose fat, not weight. Think of your thinking, invert your thinking. I want to lose fat, not weight. Because weight is just the total volume of mass. I can lose 7 pounds overnight. That doesn't do anything for me. I barely lost fat, maybe 0.1 gram of fat. That is no, actually nothing. You're not gonna lose fat. You're just gonna lose mostly water, mostly overnight, just water, off the bat. A little bit muscle because water can tend to leave a muscle. So you're not losing muscle, but you're losing glycogen. So you're gonna be a little bit tiny weaker, but it's not gonna affect you that much. But you will lose water weight, and that's the thing. I want people to know that gaining muscle is going to take a long process. Losing fat is going to take a long process. Losing fat is easier than gaining muscle, but you're not going to lose it overnight. So if you lose 7 pounds overnight or 7 pounds even in a week, most likely that's just water. If it's in a week process, that might be a pound of fat you lost, depending how much you weigh, depending how much fat you have in the first place. But that is mostly water. You want to stay to a range about 4 pounds a week is pretty fast, so that's a pound a week. That's about, if you do the math, that could be 1,000 to 700 calories deficit below your maintenance, which that's pretty aggressive, which I won't recommend most people because, well, you will lose also muscle in that process of losing fat faster. That's why, and if you lose fat faster, if you lose muscle faster, then you won't burn as much calories. Then you have to do more movement to burn as much calories as if I was just sitting here because I have more muscle than you. And you won't look better because if you lose more muscle and you lose more fat but you lost a lot of weight, yeah, you lost a lot of weight, but now you're more unhealthier because you have less muscle and you just become a smaller, flabby version of yourself. That's the other thing people don't understand. You'll become small, yeah, you lose weight, you lose fat, but you have no muscle and you're not even strong. So you didn't become healthier, you become actually unhealthier. The reason why I'm talking like this is to get this point across. It's a time process. You have to look at weeks and months, even years if I have to, but just try. For most people, try to look at it for weeks and months. If you look at days, then you're just gonna you're really gonna go crazy about it, and you're not really gonna track. You're gonna binge, and in those days you will gain a little bit fat because you eat 1,000 calories over your maintenance. And if that is consistent over weeks on weeks, you will gain fat instead of, well, lose fat. So the only reason why these diets work is because A, you lower your carbs so you lose weight. B, if you want to lose fat, then you have to be in a calorie deficit. But if you know your foods, like your Pop-Tarts, carbs are your trigger, then you will eat more meat. And that's why you will stick to a strict meat protocol. Because you're more full, you won't tend to binge on carbs, which is cupcakes and stuff. I have to remind people on this. And you won't have a process of gaining weight. You will be losing weight because you can maintain that calorie deficit. You don't feel eager to eat that Pop-Tart because carbs are just not triggers, just hormones. You eat more meat, you're full. You eat that fatty steak, you're full. You can't eat anymore. So that's why these diets work, to help you lose weight, fat specifically. If you want to lose weight, then yeah, go ahead, eat less carbs, but you're losing weight. So that doesn't benefit you per se than actually losing fat. If you want to lose fat, then yes, these diets can help you stay on that goal, to stay on that road. But if you want to lose weight, then just simply, I will give you the answer: drop your carbs. Also limit the amount of the sodium intake you take, because if you have more sodium and more carbs, then you will store more water. It's just the water retention. That's what we call it. Simple. That's how. Also eat more asparagus is good to lose water weight. So this can be beneficial for many people to lose weight per se. Like if you're cutting a class, trying to go down a class, you definitely want to lose some weight. Okay, it's simple. Trying to drink more water, lower the carbs, or just drink more water, lower the carbs, and drink more water. Or just drink more water in general, you lose weight. I can lose 4 pounds overnight if I lower my carbs to 50 carbs today, and I typically eat 350 grams of carbs a day. So I can simply lose 7 pounds of water weight and say I can lose fat. That's not fat, that's just water. That's nothing. You did nothing. You didn't achieve losing fat. So and also the scale is bullshit too, so it doesn't determine if you lose fat. You can lose 10 pounds in a week. Most likely you lost fat, but you could still be the same. It's hormones, metabolism, it depends, etc. That's why I suggest taking pictures at the same time with good lighting. Measure your waist. That's probably the best form of method, because if you waist shrink, most likely, of course, you lost fat. But if you're looking to lose weight, per se, water weight, then just lower the carbs, lower the sodium, drink more water, because you actually would pee out more water, because the body doesn't attempt to hold more if it doesn't feel like it needs to. So drink more water and you lose weight. The successful people that want to lose fat and actually stay in this for long term and look at weeks on weeks, I'm not trying to be rude, but that's the truth, then you won't be in a calorie deficit. But if you eat all those 4 main groups, which I do suggest, eat your fish and stuff, carbs and everything to get your macronutrients. If you know carbs are just not the answer for you in fish, the only thing, or just carbs in general, then eat your other 4 main food groups. Eat your dairy. If dairy is a trigger food even, then eat your fats and stick to your fats and not your carbs. But I want people to understand, when they go on these diets, do it if you know that you will binge on other foods that's not per se healthy, or do it because you know that you will be in a calorie deficit when doing it, but you just love those types of foods. But I will suggest eat 4 main groups for macronutrients, for health reasons, for productivity, of not restricting, because, well, you eat 4. Like, hey, I feel like eating more carbs, or I feel like eating more fats in these days. It's okay if you and your maintenance calories, you just feel like eating, You're a normal human being, just eating. But I'm going to end off this video. That is the topic of diets. The only reason you will lose weight fast overnight is because you lower your carbs, less sodium intake, and more fats. That's the only reason. Because meats don't have carbs to contain water weight, which is called water retention. That's why you lost weight, not because you didn't lose fat. Well, I'm ending off this video. This is No BS Nutrition. Please comment below for more questions about nutrition aspects and training.